The Jobs Live channel is an innovative, interactive, moderated online channel that brings job opportunities directly into the home, classroom, or business. The Jobs Live channel is free to the end user and does not require any additional equipment to be purchased or licenses to be downloaded. Since 2016, the Jobs Live channel and the Learn Live channel have supported the futures of people across the UK by delivering over 2,000 live broadcasts and reaching over 10 million people in schools, colleges, and the wider community. The Jobs Live channel can be attended by an unlimited number of individuals simply by logging into the channel and joining the live broadcast. The broadcasts can be customised to showcase an organisation's vacancies and profile, provide live video feeds and live jobs, and have a running commentary from our studios to review the latest job opportunities available across the UK. The Jobs Live channel is a partnership with businesses and the DWP and works continuously to link job seekers to employers and educate them about the types of companies available within the economy. The channel is already working successfully with companies like Balfour Beatty, Network Rail, the NHS, alongside hundreds of businesses supported by the local economic partnerships. Individuals and employees are encouraged to ask questions during the broadcasts via the channel's moderated live chat facility directly to the Jobs Live channel partners. The Jobs Live channel can offer you the following: a channel which gives employers and partners the opportunities to promote and discuss their current vacancies to a captive audience of job seekers. Dedicated channel pages for your business to host video content both live and on demand. An innovative, moderated live chat facility on your channel page to provide real-time interaction between customers and businesses. Fully searchable live jobs applet for customers to locate the latest vacancies and watch videos from employers discussing the roles available. Finally, using our trusted methods and our extensive knowledge of this market, our project plans ensure all resources and step-by-step processes are met in line with timescales and budgets. We look forward to working with your business in the future on the Jobs Live channel. Thank you for watching. The Jobs Live channel is an innovative, interactive, moderated online channel that brings job opportunities directly into the home, classroom, or business. The Jobs Live channel is free to the end user and does not require any additional equipment to be purchased or licenses to be downloaded. Since 2016, the Jobs Live channel and the Learn Live channel have supported the futures of people across the UK by delivering over 2,000 live broadcasts and reaching over 10 million people in schools, colleges, and the wider community. The Jobs Live channel can be attended by an unlimited number of individuals simply by logging into the channel and joining the live broadcast. The broadcasts can be customised to showcase an organisation's vacancies and profile, provide live video feeds and live jobs, and have a running commentary from our studios to review the latest job opportunities available across the UK. The Jobs Live channel is a partnership with businesses and the DWP and works continuously to link job seekers to employers and educate them about the types of companies available within the economy. The channel is already working successfully with companies like Balfour Beatty, Network Rail, the NHS, alongside hundreds of businesses supported by the local economic partnerships. Individuals and employees are encouraged to ask questions during the broadcasts via the channel's moderated live chat facility, directly to the Jobs Live channel partners. The Jobs Live channel can offer you the following: a channel which gives employers and partners the opportunities to promote and discuss their current vacancies to a captive audience of job seekers. Dedicated channel pages for your business to host video content both live and on demand. An innovative, moderated live chat facility on your channel page to provide real-time interaction between customers and businesses. Fully searchable live jobs applet for customers to locate the latest vacancies and watch videos from employers discussing the roles available. Finally, using our trusted methods and our extensive knowledge of this market, our project plans ensure all resources and step-by-step processes are met in line with timescales and budgets. We look forward to working with your business in the future on the Jobs Live channel. Thank you for watching.
So good morning and welcome to the Jobs Live channel. This is Nuclear Live, and today we're going to be focusing on the nuclear industry and finding out about all the great opportunities that are available for you to join that industry right now. We've got a great lineup as well this morning. We've got EDF, we've got Bechtel, we're going to be meeting up with NSG Limited, Sellafield, Nuclear Graduates, Nuvia, and we're going to finish off with Get Into Nuclear as well. Really exciting companies who are going to promote the nuclear industry all on Jobs Live this morning. Remember, to get in touch with us, it's really simple. Go to the far right hand side of the video player and you'll see the chat message there. You can just put a message in that box and you can get in touch with all our speakers today. And behind the scenes as well, we've got people waiting to answer your questions. So do get those questions up on the live chat. And our first guest we'll be meeting very shortly will be Tom Fayer from EDF. He's going to tell us about the HPC site and the great opportunities that exist there for people to join the nuclear sector. We'll be back shortly. So welcome back to the Jobs Live channel.
We have a wide variety of roles available at McCann Health Medcoms.
So we've got a number of regional offices. We've got both construction and highways are based at Salford Quays.
Yeah, so I work on the highways sector of the business and I'm an assistant HR business partner, so I look after all our highways contracts that we've got currently in the northwest of the key business basically.
And we're going to speak to Amanda from Stockport Homes.
Get yourself a really good quality professional email address. It really is much more important than you think. Make sure that your person spec at the top absolutely matches the job that you're going for. The role profile that you've been asked to meet should absolutely come through in the person spec at the top, so that an employer very quickly can say, right, okay, you're ideal.
From Wigan through Lee, through Tilsley, Atherton, literally you could be based anywhere across the borough when you come and work for the council.
From Cumbria, which is the most northerly point, is up towards Carlisle, right down to the southern point of Cheshire.
So much interaction on the chat, so many people getting in touch. So thank you for that, and thank you for those employers who are signposting people to various websites and giving them advice about applying for work.
currently recruiting for care workers. We actually have 30 current vacancies in this area at the moment. So that would be obviously community carers. But, you know, there is opportunity to do other things, mainly going on to be a senior carer, or eventually coming in and working in the offices with me and the rest of our team within the office.
It's so exciting. There's a job for everybody, I do believe. We have you know, people working obviously on site in trade positions, and then obviously back office staff, support staff, HR, recruitment, you name it, there's a job.
We are now looking for another 300 individuals to work as traffic management operatives. So that includes training opportunities and qualified operatives and foremen into the business. That's a shift paid role. But we also have then additional management opportunities for contracts managers and operations managers.
See you again soon here on the Jobs Live channel. Take care. So welcome to the Jobs Live channel. Today we're focusing on the nuclear sector, and as you saw there from that last video, if you do want to get in touch, it's really straightforward. You just go to the top of the page, you can subscribe, and you can use the live chat right now to contact companies who are on board during the next couple of hours to talk all things nuclear. And to do that, our first guest is Tom Fayer. Good morning, Tom.
Morning, Stuart. How are you?
Yeah, really good, really good. Always great to see you, Tom. And I know there's a lot going on down where you're working at the moment in the nuclear sector. Great opportunities, and this is what we want to shine a light on this morning: is those opportunities. So no one, you know, everyone understands the size of the operation down there and the kind of people you're going to need now and in the future. But before we get into that, Tom, just briefly tell us what your company does.
Okay, so I work for a company called EDF UK. It's owned by EDF, is our parent company, which is a French-based organisation, which has assets all over the world. And in the UK, EDF is the UK's largest supplier and generator of low carbon electricity. And we do that in a number of ways. So we have investments in renewables, but we also have and operate 8 nuclear power stations. So 1 pressurized water reactor over in Suffolk, and then 7 AGR nuclear stations. Now, for us, those 8 nuclear power stations are coming to the end of their life expectancy. So at some point they will be turned off, they will not be producing any low carbon electricity anymore, and they will go through a phase of what we call decommissioning, when they're taken apart. So as we move forward and we have those ambitious targets to meet, which the UK have signed us up to. So if you think about lowering our carbon emissions, things that you may have heard about in the news called net zero by 2050, we've got to keep thinking about how are we going to produce this low carbon electricity moving forward. And there needs to be a mix. There needs to be what we call an energy mix. So renewables are absolutely fantastic, but the wind doesn't always shine, and the wind doesn't always blow, and the sun doesn't always shine. So you still need a stable baseload power, and that's where nuclear comes in. So it's having, think of it like a pie, and then there's different parts of the pie. So those 8 nuclear power stations will get to the end of their life, so we've got to start thinking about building some new ones. And that's what we're doing at Hinkley Point C, which is currently Europe's largest construction site down in Somerset.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for that. So you just answered my next question, actually, Tom, was where you're based and where's Hinkley Point C. So it's in Somerset, and like you say, the largest construction site in Europe. I mean, you've seen it yourself firsthand, haven't you? What do you get from that going down there? What's that sense you get of expectation for the future, really?
Well, I mean, it literally is a once in a generation experience, really. And that's why I'm so enthusiastic and excited about being part of the project. It's the first of a generation to be built, and it's a 3.2 gigawatt nuclear power station. It's vast in size and scale, but the thing that really, really excites me is the opportunities for young people. So 25,000 job opportunities during the construction phase of Hinkley Point C. And then actually, when the power station goes live and goes operational in 2025, there'll be about 900 full-time jobs for 60 years. So loads and loads of opportunity there for people of all ages, and a huge variety. So, during the construction phase, project planners, pipe fitters, security engineers, steel fixers, ground workers, environmental safety. And then when you move into the operational side of things, huge number of apprenticeship opportunities, graduate opportunities, nuclear safety, fuel management, operational, engineering, project management, etc. So that's what is really, really exciting for me about the project.
No, and I've seen the videos that you've sent us across as well when we're working with you, Tom. It does look fantastic. You said there's lots of roles and opportunities. If I may, we've had a question on the chat, and what we're noticing as well, a lot of people moving sectors. So Ian's been in touch, and just give us your take on this, if you don't mind, Tom. He's currently employed as a multi-skilled engineer in the food industry. He's got a second in BEng in honours as a degree, and he's looking to move into the nuclear sector. He's finding it hard because he's not a new graduate to move into this sector already, but he feels he has a lot to offer. Any ideas on how he can demonstrate his abilities, really, and willingness to learn, or what skills to gain to make the move from the food industry into nuclear?
Okay. So I think you have loads of transferable skills there. And certainly from a Hinkley Point C perspective, those skills would really be useful. And we have a job service. So if you type into Google HPC jobs or edfenergy.com/HPC jobs, you can register, you can list your skills, your interests, and then when jobs become available, you will be brokered into those roles and those opportunities, or you will be advertised for the opportunity to certainly put in an application. So that's what I would encourage. I would encourage them to do.
Yeah, that's a great question from Ian, and I thought I'd just ask you. We're going to ask that to all our speakers today, because I think it's a good example of how people do want to join you, but maybe don't see the obvious line of sight, if you like, into nuclear, need to have a bit of reassurance. So I've just flashed up your careers page. This is the edfenergy.com/careers page, Tom, and it does have a link there to careers and to Hinkley Point C. So I'm leaving that on there for a few minutes. I mean, if someone does land on this page, Tom, what's the application process look like? Is it an online application first?
Okay, good question. Yeah, so it all depends. So the jobs that are advertised currently for the construction phase of Hinkley Point C, one thing to sort of make people aware of is that you wouldn't necessarily be employed by EDF. So EDF does employ people on the Hinkley Point C project. Of course they do. Apprenticeships, high-level degree apprenticeships, and wider skills. But a lot of the jobs that are advertised are with the people that are actually building the power station. So some of the biggest organisations in construction and engineering, so Cavendish Nuclear, Doosan Babcock, Bouygues Laing O'Rourke, and applications differ. So, but one thing that doesn't differ is if you go to that jobs page, edfenergy.com/HPC jobs, it lists down the skills that we're looking for, and you click on the link. And then you start filling in your information. So it could be a telephone interview to start with. It could be an assessment centre, etc. And then if you're a little bit younger, you have an opportunity to join the Young HPC program. So edfenergy.com/Young HPC. If you're between 16 and 24, you can join that program, and then we'll help you through that application program a little bit more. But there is a team there on the HPC Job Service team who are willing and able to help anybody who has any further questions.
No, that's great. And you can sign up for your latest jobs. There's an alert there as well, isn't there, Tom? So that's a really useful thing. So Ian and anybody else watching.
Yeah, and I think as well, Stuart, we're using the hashtag Somerset Jobs. So hopefully that will start being advertised here on the Jobs Live page as well. So if people come back, they can have a look at live jobs in their local area.
That is perfect. Thanks so much, Tom. We've got you back on screen now, but I just thought we'd share that website because also we saw some really interesting images of Hinkley Point C and the scale of this thing as well. Was I right in saying that one of the world's largest cranes came along recently to help you out? Yeah, so there's a program currently on BBC Two, so it might be available on iPlayer if you search. And the second episode of that program is all about lifting, and it's lifting the liner cup onto the foundation of the nuclear reactor. So there's in excess of about 50 cranes, and there's a specifically designed crane called Big Carl, which is on site currently at the moment for those incredible lifts. And I think off the top of my head, it's capable of lifting about 5,500 tons. So everything on this project is huge in scale. We've got the Instagram account, we've got, Facebook channel and all of that sort of stuff. But I would recommend, and I'll pop it in the chat facility, taking a look at the Apprenticeship and Career Insight playlist that we've got on the EDF UK YouTube channel, for real insights and video footage of the project as it evolves. Perfect. Just before we let you go, Tom, you mentioned there about people applying. One of the things we always like to ask any of our speakers is, any hints and tips for anyone applying into your industry. So let's just take the online one, for example. You've probably seen your fair share of people apply. What makes someone's application stand out for you?
Yeah, I think it's always about referencing back to that job description. So really thinking about what skills is the employer looking for, making sure you highlight additional things that you're interested in outside of academia or your usual work. That brings you to life on paper. And I think there's so many transferable skills. If you're involved in different things outside of work or school, college, etc. So would highly recommend that. And then if you are fortunate enough to come for an interview, you've got to do your research. So you need to understand, in this example, what is Hinkley Point C? What is it all about? What is it trying to achieve, etc. So to know something about the project is vital, the organisation that you're applying for, etc. And hopefully that will make you stand out on interview day.
No, absolutely. Well, listen, always great to see you, Tom. Thanks so much for your time today for this Nuclear Live broadcast where we're shining a light on what is a growing sector. And certainly this week has been a fantastic week for you, Tom, hasn't it? Green Week. There's been lots to celebrate.
Yeah, lots to celebrate. And I think, we have to think about how we're going to keep the lights on, and it's a huge engineering challenge, I think, for us as the UK and internationally as time goes by. We do need to come up with good solutions and ways that, climate change, global warming, we do things that aren't going to have a huge impact moving forward. And that is of international value. So it's a very, very exciting sector to be working in.
Thanks again, Tom. We'll see you back here soon, I'm sure, on either our Jobs Live or Learn Live channel. Great to see you again. Take care, and all the best with the project down there as well.
Thank you. So in terms of finding some of those live vacancies, if you open your browser, put in edfenergy.com/HPC jobs, And then you scroll down, you will see job search. You click on this button here, register with the Hinkley Point C job service. Click OK. Click up here on the toolbar which says job vacancies. As you scroll down, there are currently 63 jobs being advertised by the Hinkley Point C job service. If you type in apprenticeship and then click on search over here, it will highlight to you what apprenticeship opportunities we have. So for example, formwork carpenter apprenticeship. So this is with Bylaw, Bouygues Laing O'Rourke. You scroll down, you can find out more about what a formwork carpenter is, weekly wages, what your job will entail, what qualifications and experience you will need to apply. And then you just click on the Apply Now button.
Hello, my name is Kieran Sutter. I'm 21 years old and I'm on the Nuclear Engineering Degree Apprenticeship course working for EDF. So the route I took after school was initially to do a year in sixth form. Before that, I knew I wanted to do an apprenticeship, but there wasn't much available up in North Wales where I'm from. And then a year after doing sixth form, an opportunity came up with Horizon Nuclear Power, which was my first apprenticeship. And then after that, I completed the apprenticeship with them, and unfortunately, they closed down a couple of years ago. And then I was lucky enough to get a place on the Nuclear Engineering Degree Apprenticeship course with EDF. The reason I wanted to do an apprenticeship was because I was able to get a salary whilst learning. The course I was doing was paid for, and it was a great experience to understand how large businesses work, such as what Horizon was originally with and EDF now. So at school or college, I knew I wanted to do some sort of engineering, specifically nuclear engineering, because of the links to Wilbur Power Station at Anglesey, where I'm from. It just gives you a great opportunity to learn about the engineering industry and what it's about, what type of stuff is available, such as mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. I thought it was a good way to expand on my knowledge from the interest I'd shown early on in GCSEs. And yeah, from that I was able to discover that I like to do electrical engineering, so that's what I'm currently doing now. So balancing work and study on the course I'm doing is quite easy. It's been set up like that for us. So currently we're doing like roughly 3-4 months out on placement with EDF, and then we'll have a 5-week college block where we'll dedicate all our time to studying for exams that we'll have on a certain module and completing coursework. So it's quite handy that EDF has set the course up like that. So the benefits you get from doing an apprenticeship is you get to learn on the job. Once you learn on the job, you get a qualification as well, and from that you also earn a salary, which is great. You can't complain about that. And as well, at the end of your apprenticeship, you'll likely be working for the company that you started your apprenticeship with. But if for whatever reason you can't get into the company that you're doing it with, then you've got a qualification already paid for, and I'm pretty certain another company will be pretty interested in what you've already done. So the most memorable experience I've had on my apprenticeship so far is being able to live in student accommodations. So for the first year, you're fully based at college on my course, which is great. So you get to experience the student life. So you get to meet new people, live with other people, just do general student things that you'd see your mates do. Something else I'd add as well is in my second year now, I get to go out on placement and work within the EDF company. So it's great to see what type of work's being done, how it's done, and actually contributing to the work that's being made to progress Hinkley Point C. So my ambitions for the future are to hopefully finish this degree apprenticeship I'm on. So I'll concentrate as hard as I can on the work I'm doing now to do the best I can for my assignment, for my exams, and also transfer that over to my placement. Hopefully leave a good impression on the managers and the people I'm working with. So from that, I can create a large network of friends and colleagues, which can hopefully lead me down the right paths and open several doors for potential jobs in the future. Some advice I'd give for anyone looking into apprenticeships would be to apply for as many as you can. Even if it's something you're not too keen on, getting the experience, going to interviews and stuff like that can only help benefit you. And help build your confidence, help build your skills and what to expect when you go for these apprenticeships. I'd also say it's important to find out as much as you can about the company before you go for the interview, because knowing the correct information will only put yourself in a better place. And also be enthusiastic when you're going for the interviews and stuff. Show that you're keen. Just let them know what skills you've got, and make sure you participate in any team building skills they might have put in front of you.
Hi, I hope you enjoyed my day today. And now you've had a bit of an introduction to working here, imagine what you could do as an EDF Energy apprentice. You can get straight into a career with no further education and without getting into any debt. Join the Hinkley Point C or the Sizewell C team and play an essential role in all of our futures.
Good morning and welcome back to the Jobs Live channel. We just caught up there with Tom Fayer from EDF. Fascinating interview about what's happening at Hinkley Point C and in the nuclear industry as a whole. And thank you for those who've already been in touch via the live chat. I was going to just remind everybody about that and how you can get involved with the channel. So I bring up the site for you now. Here is the main channel page. You can see we've already had questions coming in there on the live chat. It's really simple to do that. Just leave your message at the bottom of the screen there where it says leave your question, and then one of the panel from today's broadcast will get back to you and respond. You can also subscribe to the channel by hitting subscribe at the top of the page, and that way then you won't miss any of our broadcasts moving forward from the different sectors that we feature. And remember, we're live 24/7, so anytime you can come onto the site and ask a question in any of our chat facilities, and we'll pass that on to the companies that you're trying to get in touch with. So this is the Jobs Live page, jobsliveuk.com, and today you'll be watching it on the channel page. We have many partners behind the scenes who are waiting to answer your questions, so do get them through, and thank you for those, as I say, who've already done that. So coming up shortly, we've got Bechtel, we're going to speak up with NSG and Sellafield, all coming up in the next 20 or 30 minutes or so. And we're on air till about noon today, so plenty of time to get your questions through during the time of this live broadcast. In the meantime, here's a short film about BAE Systems.
My day-to-day role kind of includes talking to and learning from some senior managers who are very experienced in their nuclear industry role. We also get to go around lots of facilities and learn from all the new innovative engineering processes. We also get to do things like testing and commissioning of different parts of a submarine, and also getting on board a submarine, which is quite fun.
I'm a fifth year, so I've already done 3 years of placements, moving around to doing with different teams. And I'm currently in my soft exit role with dimensional management in manufacturing engineering. So because of my nuclear background, I work largely with the reactor section. So that, as you can imagine, there's a lot of regulations around that. So most of my job is reviewing the build procedures and identifying where dimensional control shots are required. So using 3D measurement equipment to capture the data we need. And then I produce visual aids for the teams, collecting them to go out and actually physically take the shots. Because it's part of manufacturing engineering, I've also been lucky enough to be part of the Six Sigma Green Belt training, and I'm currently working on my project for that. So that's identifying an area of poorer quality in the business and using the tools you get taught on that to help improve it. I also do my degree part-time, so I'm in my last year of my nuclear engineering BEng, so that involves my dissertation as well. And luckily I can marry up my Six Sigma as my dissertation project. And while it can be challenging at times balancing work and college, that's just one example of how they marry up nicely together. Part of my time on the scheme, I got to be involved in the Young Nuclear Professionals Forum. So that takes young professionals from different nuclear sites, and we work together towards common goals that are facing issues across the whole industry. And as a result of that, I've got to travel to a lot of different nuclear sites, and that's been really interesting. So I knew I wanted a degree, but I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to get it. So I went to sixth form when I left school with the idea that I could get an apprenticeship if I wanted it, and then if I didn't like it, I could fall back and go to uni with my A-levels. But while I was at sixth form, I learned about the degree apprenticeships, and it seemed the ideal situation for me. I could earn, I could learn, I could stay at home while I saved for a house. It ticked every box for me, really. And nuclear was the bit I always found most interesting when I was doing my physics A-level.
It's just such an exciting opportunity, which is very difficult to miss out on, because nuclear isn't a very established industry at the moment, with only small parts of the UK actually running apprenticeships. So it's very niche and very exciting to be up working for a company that builds nuclear-powered submarines. I came to Barrow because of the opportunities it has up here, but since coming here, I've learned a lot about the area, and I've spent a lot of time up in the Lake District doing lots of hobbies and exciting things in there.
I wouldn't say I really had concerns because, I grew up in Barrow, so BAE has always been on my radar. And when I joined the scheme, when I first applied, we got assigned a buddy even before we started on site, and you could ask any questions to them to sort of set your mind at ease, and that was really useful. Even just simple things like which door do I go into when I first start on the day. That's the sort of thing I'd get nervous about, but it was, easily answered. I think the main concern I had when I first started and I was weighing up whether to go for a degree apprenticeship or going to uni was the lifestyle changes. So obviously it's quite a different lifestyle working as well as studying, but you make a lot of friends through the business and you don't feel like you miss out a lot.
I think it's just the unknown, just not knowing what you're going to come into and not knowing what your day-to-day life would be like. Also moving to an area that you don't know is also quite challenging as well. But the business put in place things like buddies and also talking to people who are already on the scheme, which is really useful to kind of ask as many questions as you can to somebody who is not scary and is not a manager in the business, and it's somebody who's been in the same situation as you. So that was really useful for me. I learned a lot about housing up here, about the social life, and about how often you're working and things like that, which are always big questions. You get to do so many different things and learn so many different things whilst you're here. So getting a degree and also going to different sites, people like who you work with are always there to help you, and they just want to tell you everything they know. So you're kind of a bit of a knowledge sponge, and you just try and learn as much as you can, and it's really, really fun.
Yeah, I've always had support when I needed it, and a lot of it's introduced passively on the nuclear scheme because we have our forums once a month, and that's so we get a chance to meet up, So even when I was a first year, I was like sitting down with the third years, and they knew, so I got to like draw on their experiences as well, and it was a really good support network that way.
Yeah, it's daunting at first, and you do work in teams where there is a lot of men in the team. However, everybody is so welcoming and so happy to have you on your team, and there is women there to support as well. There's lots of women in engineering groups. There is lots of projects like Enabled or Mind and things like that, which are all there just to help you with either your well-being or your mental health, or if you're struggling with anything that's going on in the business. But me personally, I've never had to like say anything about women in engineering, and it's just been really good. Since coming up here, I've joined a netball team which is run at the sixth form college. It's been really good to meet new people from outside of the business. I've also taken up some gym memberships, which you get a discount with from being with BAE Systems. And I enjoy cycling, so it's a really, really good area to cycle.
So what a fantastic video that was there from BAE and the nuclear division, talking more about the people who work there. Hopefully you found that interesting, and don't forget to keep using the live chat today to get more questions through to the team here, while we've got representatives from the nuclear sector on live here on the Jobs Live channel. And next up we have James Rudd from NSG Limited. Hi James.
Hi Stuart.
Thanks so much for joining us today on the Jobs Live channel. For those who may not know or be aware of NSG, just tell us briefly what your organisation does, please.
We're an SME, about 250 people and growing. We specialise in decommissioning and waste management, and working on nuclear licensed sites. We provide consultancy and advice on clearing up radioactive waste, R&D and engineering solutions for dealing with the challenges that exist on nuclear licensed sites, and site services for making sure that the sites are safe, secure, environmentally conscious, looking after all the waste.
Perfect. It's a growing sector, isn't it? So, I mean, we've just been speaking there to EDF and the Hinkley Point C setup that's going on down there in Somerset, and they're decommissioning 8 sites. So again, there's, you've got to do something with these sites when they come to the end of life, don't you?
Yeah, you want to make sure everything is safe and secure, and we're one of the companies that go about doing that. There's currently 11 Magnox generating sites that have finished operations, and the EDF sites are moving in now. So yeah, the industry should carry on for a good few years yet, yes.
Just tell us where you're based in the UK, please, James.
Well, I'm currently based from home at the moment, as I have been. There's a lot of home working goes on with a lot of the engineers and consultancy support. But we have a headquarters in Chorley, but we have more site-based offices, some in Cumbria, some just outside Aldermaston, some in Cheltenham. And we have site teams on nuclear licensed sites all around the country in Scotland and in England.
Great. And just tell us the kind of people that you're looking for in the future, to recruit, because I know you're probably constantly taking on new people. What kind of people are you looking for now, and what sort of people do you think you'll be looking for in the future to come to work for NSG?
Yeah, so we're going through a period of growth at the moment that you mentioned, underpinned by changes in the market, and we're looking for, I've got a list here, but I'll go through it. Requirements engineers for specifying jobs that are required, risk managers for managing the risk, mechanical technicians on site working on nuclear licensed sites, electrical design engineers, project managers to control the plants, contract coordinators for managing the costs, EC&I engineers, electrical engineers for designing electrical systems, quality managers for ensuring that we give the clients what they want, mechanical technicians, electrical technicians, project managers again, but based on different sites, assistant project managers and project engineers, and even site supervisors for looking after teams on site. Some of them are based at on site at AWE, so there's some specific security requirements that we have to make sure that people have clearance, and some of them are based on other sites where they're not as restrictive. Yeah,
I just logged your website now, James, and just clicked on careers, and looks like you've got some roles both at Chorley and at Aldermaston as well.
Yes.
So if someone wanted to get in touch with you about any of those opportunities, what would be the best thing to do once they landed on this page?
Initially, click through some of the buttons, but if you want to email hr@nsgltd.com. If you're interested in any of those positions that are mentioned on the website, and we can put you in touch. Some of the positions are contract positions, and some of them are staff positions. So it may be we direct you to go through one of the agencies that we work with.
Perfect. Well, I'll just leave that up on screen for a few moments so people can make a note of that. But maybe if you're on the live chat later, James, you could just remind people of the web address and the email address as well to guide them to that page. The actual, the sector itself, James, I mean, you said before we came on air, you've been with the company for 17 years now. How did your journey start into nuclear? Was it something you've always wanted to join?
I type of fell into it by accident. I was a graduate mechanical engineer. I got involved in sales in the pharmaceutical industry, and I put my CV online, and it got picked up and presented in front of NSG about 17 years ago. It used to have about 30 people, turning over £3 million. And they looked like an exciting company then, because they're doing lots of interesting projects, a lot of R&D. We have a workshop, we have a laboratory, developing new technologies, remote systems. And they looked to have a future then, 17 years ago. So went for the interview, and I could see the potential, really. And I initially joined as a commercial engineer, and now I'm a business development manager. I get involved with all the clients around the country looking for new work.
Absolutely. And while we're talking on there, so at the moment through Jobs Live, we're having questions coming in, and I don't want to put you on the spot, James, but Carl's been in touch, and he just says, first off, could you tell me what roles you have? And you've done that, thank you very much. You've listed them and the site to go to find out more. But then he says, what skills do I need to be a quality manager? Can you help him with that one?
I'll have to have a look. Can if you email HR@NSGLTD and put that back at this moment in time, if you send that email across, we can certainly answer that question.
No problem. I'll go instruct them to do that. So, Carl, if you're watching this right now, just jump onto that website. I'll just bring that page up again.
That job is at AWE, so security clearance in that is necessary. Either the clearance or the ability to get cleared quickly is important.
This is what we do here at Jobs Live, James. We actually guide people live to apply. So that's what Carl will hopefully do now. So, Carl, that's the email address again, just flashing it up on screen. That's hr@nsglimited.com. And as James just referred there, you will have to do security clearance to be in that role, but still worth asking the question as to what skills are required. Thank you, James, for that. Sorry to do that live, but it's the nature of what we do. We have live interaction as we're doing these broadcasts. So yeah, you mentioned there about guiding people to the site, but generally speaking, from your own experience of working with your teams, what kind of people are you looking for to join NSG? You know, what skills, attributes are you finding people bring with them and they tend to then be successful in your industry?
I mean, the purpose of our business is to nurture, to develop and create a stable, profitable and responsible business that's proud to work in the nuclear industry and improve the environment that we work in. So we're looking for people that fit in with that purpose. And we've got strong values with our company. Passion, we're looking for passionate people. We're looking for people with integrity who like to challenge the norm to improve things, both themselves and others, and work collaboratively. So we're looking for those with those strong values. We're also looking for those with who can bring something new or something different to help improve the business. We've grown over the years that I've mentioned, from my 17 years being 3 million to turning over nearly 30 million pounds now. And we're looking for those people that can help drive the business in those various areas, be that from the site operations team to those working in R&D to the engineers developing technologies, or the consultancy team advising and supporting, really. So yeah, bring something different that can improve the business and have those key skills you need, and a commitment to do a good job and making the environment and communities that we're working better.
Oh, thank you for that. Really valuable information about the kind of people you're looking for. And Carl's just put on the chat as well. Thank you for the information. So we've managed to get somebody there to look at your site this morning and to hopefully apply. And if you have got any further questions, continue to use the live chat whilst we've got James on the line. Just one more question from us, please, James. And this is really around working for you and what benefits they are to work for NSG. I mean, clearly you've been there 17 years, you've progressed. Is this something that you know NSG are proud of, to make people successful and progress within the industry?
Yeah, we're a very nurturing company, really. So very forward thinking, very embracing about people from all types of environment, really. And I've found that there's a number of people who've progressed in the career. Our current managing director, or group managing director now, started as a laboratory technician and developed his way up, really. So there's the opportunity to improve yourself within the business, but also there's a lot of support that the business can provide to help you achieve that: training, development, opportunities, and opportunities to work your way up. A number of the key staff now have been there a long time and progressed.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. We have got a short film actually about NSG, which we're going to play now. I think it's more of a welcome video, but it gives you a bit more insight into NSG and what you're all about as well. So thank you again for your time, James, this morning, and glad you could connect with us even if you are working remotely. It's the nature of the beast at the moment, isn't it, working from home still? Are you looking forward to getting back into the office though?
I went into the office and it was quite quiet, so it's whatever fits within our business, really. So I think I'll be working from home for a long time yet, really. We'll just be quite a diverse business. It's the way we operate. It suits some, and I think I will be as well.
I think a lot of organisations are using the blended approach, aren't they, of working from home a bit and working in the office. So I'm sure that will continue. Okay, thank you again, James. Do take care. We'll catch you up soon on the Jobs Live channel. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
So hello everyone and welcome to today's National Apprenticeship Week, and we have got George from Cavendish Nuclear. So George, if you could just introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm George Garner. I'm a project management apprentice with Cavendish Nuclear and I've been with the company for about 3 years now.
That's great. So what route did you take after completing school and why did you decide to go down that route?
So my route was a bit different to most. I left traditional school at 14. So your normal high schools, I went to a studio school at the age of 14 where I studied engineering at level 2. So really, I always knew that I had a passion for engineering and I wanted to go into an engineering industry. It was just what role I'd fit into.
Perfect, that's great. So did you want to do that from school or was there something else that you were thinking about doing before you found that school?
So really, when I was maybe 12 or 13, I wanted to be an accountant. But when I was 14, in January 2014, a leaflet came through the door for the new studio school, and it had an option of business, IT and engineering. And really, I thought, okay, I've got a bit of a passion for engineering. I like fixing things. I like fixing cars. So I really found my passion for engineering through sort of hobbies. Went to the school, and then from going to the school and college later on, I found a passion for project management, which is why I've ended up in the role that I am today.
That's great. It's funny how that things can link up and give you different opportunities that you wouldn't have thought about before.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when it comes to doing your degree work and also obviously doing normal work, how do you balance work and study? Is there a particular method that people need to know about, or is it just kind of go for it?
I think it's a difficult one. You've got to be very disciplined in your approach. There's a target that's for every apprentice across the country and further, regardless of what sort of job you sit in, to do 20% off the job each week. So you need to be disciplined and make sure that your team are aware that you've got to hit that target.
Absolutely. So it's all about that teamwork and making sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So what would you say are the benefits of doing an apprenticeship?
So from my perspective, the benefits of an apprenticeship, it's given me the opportunity to learn key skills needed to be successful in the workplace at an earlier age than more traditional routes would give you, like going to university. It's also exposed me to a workplace environment that you get maybe from a part-time job, but you wouldn't get until you go to your full-time job following the completion of your degree. And I've been able to build networks that's helped me broaden my horizons and really have that network of people there in case I struggle on something, and I can speak to them at some point through the work that I'm doing.
Perfect. So that, I would say, is definitely a benefit. So then even if you need something further down the line, then you've still got those contacts that would. And even if you need something further down the line, then you've still got those contacts that would probably help you out.
Yeah, exactly. It's those relationships and the rapport with people that you build up.
Perfect. That's great. So what would you say so far has been the most memorable experience of your apprenticeship?
So there are many memorable experiences through my apprenticeship, but Cavendish have given us the opportunity, and we're very fortunate to have the opportunity to do an apprentice development module, which is putting a face to a name for the apprentices across the country, and meeting that community of people that are the same age as you, in the same position as you. So really do a lot of team building through that, and you have a lot of coaching and mentoring in terms of how to develop at an early stage in your career and be the best person you can be and bring your full self to work. So really taking part in those modules has been the most memorable experience for me so far.
That's brilliant. So obviously we've taken those things that you've learned in those modules and plus also those contacts that you've made through doing your apprenticeship. What would you say are your ambitions following all that for your career in the future?
So I'd like to go on to higher education. So I'm currently at a level 4, which is traditionally like a foundation degree. So I'd like to go on to a degree through what I'm doing. I'd like to be able to carry an impact through STEM. So I've got a massive passion for STEM through the stuff that I've done in the career route I've taken so far. I'd also like to move up the career ladder. So I was always told to have a 5-year plan. That's never the case. Your career's not parallel. You go in every direction. You can change your role, and next week I could decide that I want to be in a different role from an experience I have. So really I'd like to help drive people's development, my own development, and help the development of the business through whatever role that I end up in.
Perfect. That sounds amazing, and it sounds like that it's something that you're really passionate about as well, which is always good.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. And then if you have a look back at when you were first starting to go for apprenticeships, is there any particular advice that you wish that you'd have received that you could give to anyone watching today?
I'd really say that an apprenticeship has developed me from both personal and professional perspective. So don't just think of an apprenticeship as work. Think of it as somewhere where you can develop personally as well as developing through your career path. And there isn't anything, there isn't such thing as a silly question. So don't be afraid to ask those questions that you may think are silly, where actually people are looking at you saying, right, this person wants to learn. And really one of the things that was said to me was, is there anything better than learning and earning at the same time? So would you like to do an apprenticeship and learn and earn, and instead of going through the most traditional route and then having a part-time job at the same time?
Perfect. That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for that piece of advice, and just thank you so much for your time today. Unfortunately, that was the final question. If anyone would like to follow up on this conversation with George or anyone from the Cavendish Nuclear team, then please just drop a message in the live chat facility and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. But for now, it's bye from us with George, but it was lovely speaking to you, and we'll speak again soon. So see you later.
So welcome back to the Jobs Live channel. This is Thursday, the 10th of June, and this morning we're focusing on the nuclear sector. And we've met already with EDF, we've met up with NSG in Lancashire, and also from the Northwest, we're next going to meet up with Sellafield. And on the line should be James Mercer. Hi, James.
Good morning, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Well, great to see you back here on our channels. I know we've met you previously when you were talking about apprenticeships, and we may touch on that today. But for those who don't know about Sellafield Limited, just talk us a little bit about what you do as an organisation, please.
So Sellafield Limited initially back in the 50s opened up as a nuclear power plant, and for just under 50 years we ran as a power plant providing electricity to the national grid. Now, in the early 2000s, the plant came to an end. It came to its end of life, and it's become into decommissioning, which is basically a controlled shutdown of the plant. Now, in the nuclear industry, you can't just come in and bulldoze down a plant. There's a lot more to it than that. So we've got a project for the next 100 years to safely decommission the Sellafield site. Now, that includes a lot of retrieving of nuclear waste and then processing it and safely storing it for long term for the next 100, 200 years in a safe location for the country.
So it's a long-term project, James, isn't it? And whereabouts are you based, just so people can identify where you are in the UK?
So I'm as a design engineer, I'm based in offices in Warrington, in Birchwood, just off Junction 10 on the M62. But predominantly Sellafield site is based up in Cumbria, just south of Whitehaven. We have about 11,000 guys who work up there, and there's about 1,500 people who work down in the Warrington offices where we work collaboratively.
So your role as a design engineer, just tell us a little bit about that for people who don't know. Because the title doesn't always give away what you do. So what does a design engineer do on a day-to-day basis?
So a design engineer, it's not what people might think when they think of engineering and they think of overalls and getting your hands dirty. I actually work in an office and I put together drawings, documentation to install, as an electrical engineer, to install new systems which we put in place on this plant to help us progress towards the goal of decommissioning the site. Now, as I say, there's a lot that goes into that, and as an engineer you deal with a lot of maths, a lot of physics, but you're also dealing with a lot of stakeholder engagement, talking to guys up on site, seeing what's going on and finding the best possible solution, which we use a common theme called fit for purpose, the right solution and the right design.
Brilliant. Well, just taking you back then to where it all started with you. I mean, when you were in school, James, did you always wanted to work in the nuclear, or were you thinking of something else at the time?
If I'm totally honest, I wasn't solely focused on nuclear. I really enjoyed maths and I really enjoyed physics. They were strong subjects, they were good core subjects to go off, and I think engineering goes hand in hand with that. The subjects which are very down to being a problem solver, I think applying skills to solve problems, and I think that is something that you also do in engineering a lot. And it definitely worked well for me. So initially, when I was looking to leave school, I thought I really want to go into work as opposed to carry on in education. So I was looking around for good, well-supported training schemes, apprenticeships that could support me along that path. And Sellafield really was a no-brainer, a really big company that really they show that supported apprentices and graduates for many, many years.
And I'm sure you joined with a number of different people at the time, like a cohort of apprentices. For you right now as an organisation, and I know you're not necessarily working in recruitment, but you've got some information on the kind of people that you're currently recruiting for, because let's be honest, it's a growing sector, and you probably noticed that over the last few years, the number of people you're taking on. So just tell us a bit, give us a snapshot, if you can, James, of what you're currently recruiting for, what positions are available right now.
So we do our training programs in two main ways. One is an apprenticeship, which is a school leaver or a college leaver, and the other is a graduate, which obviously means you go to university, you get your degree, and then you come out and join the company later on. Now, I think a misconception with it is people think you have to be a nuclear physicist or nuclear scientist to work in the industry, and that is not the case at all. As I say, I'm a design engineer. We have construction, commissioning, we have environmental support, we have ICT, and that's a big sector, growing sector, IT. We have project management, risk management, safety case. We have administration, business administration. Up at Sellafield, we also have crafts, so this includes fabricators, mechanical, electrical, pipe fitters. We also have health physics monitors, so this is for dealing with nuclear radiation. And we also have nuclear facility operators. Now, that's just a couple of the training courses that we do. I think in total we have 8 different apprenticeship schemes, and we have 11 graduate schemes, and we don't take one person on in each of them areas. We take multiple people on for each cohort.
Yeah, and we've just put up your page at the moment. So this is the careers page for Sellafield, James. And you can see some roles on there: cybersecurity operations manager, human factors specialist leader, and senior assessor. I'm not going to ask you to explain what that role does, but sounds very interesting. Chief technology officer, head of value stream, civil maintenance engineer, and motor vehicle mechanic. All live right now there on the Sellafield. And as you say, on top of that, you've got your apprenticeship program and your graduate programs as well for people to apply into.
Yeah. Now, if you go and have a look on the website that you've got up there, there's loads of information and there's loads of jobs available.
Perfect. Yeah, well, we'll keep that up there for a second. You've obviously progressed from where you'd started. When did you start with Sellafield?
I was a school leaver, so I started in 2015 at 16. I went straight into the industry and as an apprentice on a 4-year scheme, to where I'm working 4 days a week in the business within the offices, and then I'll go day release to college.
I think we may have lost James there for a second. James, can you hear us? We'll just try and get James back. But in the meantime, I'm just going to play you a video about Sellafield and a day in the life and what's involved in that industry.
As a second-year mechanical design apprentice, I work within the Legacy Ponds project. This job revolves around huge ponds of water that are full of nuclear waste and now pose as a radiological hazard. I'm now learning how to design and develop new mechanisms to remove this waste for environmental remediation.
Hi, my name's Connor and I'm a civil and structural degree apprentice working within the Hales and High Level Waste Plants project team. This project covers multiple facilities used for dealing with the radioactive waste from reprocessing.
Hi, I'm Simone Wilson and I'm in my 4th year of the degree apprenticeship scheme at Sellafield. I specialise in control, electrical and instrumentation engineering. Day to day I'm based in a design office.
My day-to-day job means that I work within the Warrington design offices. However, it's important to build a good understanding of the site you're designing mechanisms for. Therefore, I've been given loads of opportunities to visit the likes of Sellafield site, Haitian power plant and off-site testing facilities. This variation within my job develops an appreciation for design and the importance of communication.
My normal place of work is at the Hinton House office in Birchwood Park. Other activities that may be part of my day include attending site visits, either to suppliers and fabricators or to projects on the Sellafield site, attending meetings to discuss project work, and as a civil and structural designer.
A design engineer's role consists of multiple skills, therefore depending on the point of design I'll carry out different jobs. These vary from 3D modelling and technical report writing to working on my basic life skills. As an apprentice, I'm not only supported in my work but encouraged to network with my team and the other apprentices.
No 2 days are the same. Throughout my apprenticeship scheme, I've been able to rotate around the business, work on multiple projects, and I've had an insight into every stage of the engineering life cycle. You're able to decide kind of what area and direction you want to go in and just have an exciting all-round experience.
That's about that.
So there was a bit more information about Sellafield and a day in the life, really, of some of the people who work there. And I think we've got James back on the line. Hi, James.
Hi, you all right?
Sorry, we cut you off there in your prime there. You were really getting into, what it means to work there and the kind of progression that you made, from your starting at 16 and working your way through. And immediately you kind of answered my question, but I wanted just to demonstrate progression that you've clearly seen starting at 16. And is that something which Sellafield really do work hard on, is getting people to advance and to progress their careers?
Definitely. I think that one of the big things is with Sellafield, you get a lot of opportunities as well. And not necessarily directly through your day job. Like, I have the opportunity to do this, what I'm doing right now. As an engineer, I am an engineer as my day job, but I'm also a STEM ambassador promoting engineering and STEM in the community, and the company's a big supporter of all this sort of stuff alongside your day job, and it helps you develop as a person, develop through your career, working on soft skills as well as your hard skills.
That's brilliant. I know we've proven this is all live as well today, so sorry about that earlier, about why we lost you. But anyway, just finally, before we let you go, I mean, for any young person, in school or college looking to get into this industry, who may have a conception of what it actually is, let's allay some of those fears now. I mean, this is a fantastic industry to join, isn't it? And what would you want to say to them today on Jobs Live about why you made a decision and why they should look at it too?
I think it is just I know I've said this before, but it's a real great opportunity. It really is. I've had a lot of support throughout the 6 years, and I've really developed as a person throughout. Earning while you're learning as well. It's given me opportunities outside of work. I've been able to go off and learn to drive and enjoy my life, but also really developing throughout my career. I've also been able to go off and I've done team building opportunities within work. I've been able to get my accreditation with my institute as an engineer, which the company also support. We're also part of union within the company. Like I say, it's a real all-rounder. There's a lot more to it than just a day job, and I think that's really important. What I would say is any young person who is looking at that in a career, I definitely say to get involved in stuff like your Duke of Edinburgh Award. I think it's a really important thing when you're applying for jobs to look for, because it shows you're a rounded person, you're a leader, you're giving up your own time, you've got a really good work ethic. And I think anyone in this position now wondering how they're going to stand out and get a job like this, I think definitely look to take something down that route.
Brilliant. Thank you, James. While we've been talking to you, actually, Sarah has been on the chat and she was asking about job opportunities, and I think we've given her the page to go to, Sarah. So that's careers at Sellafield, is well worth visiting. But then she also asks, James, what qualifications do I need? So any advice on that, either at GCSE level or A level, what qualification would you suggest that may make a difference?
So what we asked for is now we only take on a college leaver, so A level at 18 now for degree apprenticeships. We asked for 3 Cs at A level. Depending on the scheme that you're doing will depend on the subjects, obviously. But what I do know is for engineering, we ask for maths and physics, and then a 3rd A level, all at C as a minimum. You can get equivalents of BTEC extended diplomas at level 3 as well. We don't just take on purely A-level students, but depending on the course that you're looking into will depend on the specific qualifications that we're after.
Yeah, perfect.
And that should all be there on the careers website for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely a go-to place, Sarah. So thank you for your question to James today on Nuclear Live. James, we're going to leave it there. Always great to see you. Thanks so much for stepping up and doing this interview today on behalf of Sellafield Limited. Keep in touch with us as well. It'd be great to have you back on, especially as we do more of these types of interviews and really to change perception, because nuclear, unfortunately, sometimes has not got the image that you would probably hope for when you go to schools. So how can we do something about that? And, you know, if there's one word that you could sum up nuclear for you, what would that be?
Opportunities. You know, it's not going out a date tomorrow. It's not like the oil and gas industry that's just drying up. Like Sellafield specifically has got a 100-year project. We're building a lot of new plants. There's lots of opportunities within nuclear.
And safety is key, isn't it? You're well looked after.
Yeah.
Everything's, you know, going on site. You know, there's no risks taken at all, is there?
Yeah, but safety and also security as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you heard it there from James, coming into the industry from 16, doing really well. He's now a design engineer. So proof there that it can be done. And thanks for your time again, James, this morning here on the Jobs Live channel for Nuclear Live. You take care now.
You're welcome. See you later.
As a second-year mechanical design apprentice, I work within the Legacy Ponds project. This job revolves around huge ponds of water that are full of nuclear waste and now pose as a radiological hazard. I'm now learning how to design and develop new mechanisms to remove this waste for environmental remediation.
Hi, my name's Connor and I'm a civil and structural degree apprentice working within the Hales and High Level Waste Plants project team. This project covers multiple facilities used for dealing with the radioactive waste from reprocessing.
Hi, I'm Simone Wilson and I'm in my 4th year of the degree apprenticeship scheme at Sellafield. I specialise in control, electrical and instrumentation engineering. Day to day I'm based in a design office.
My day-to-day job means that I work within the Warrington design offices. However, it's important to build a good understanding of the site you're designing mechanisms for. Therefore, I've been given loads of opportunities to visit the likes of Sellafield site, HM power plants and off-site testing facilities. This variation within my job develops an appreciation for design and the importance of communication.
My normal place of work is at the Hinton House office in Birchwood Park. Other activities that may be part of my day include attending site visits, either to suppliers and fabricators or to projects on the Sellafield site, attending meetings to discuss project work, and as a civil and structural designer.
A design engineer's role consists of multiple skills, therefore depending on the point of design I'll carry out different jobs. These vary from 3D modelling and technical report writing to working on my basic life skills. As an apprentice, I'm not only supported in my work but encouraged to network with my team and the other apprentices.
No 2 days are the same. Throughout my apprenticeship scheme I've been able to rotate around the business, work on multiple projects, and I've had an insight into every stage of the engineering life cycle. You're able to decide kind of what area and direction you want to go in and just have an exciting all-round experience.
So a huge thank you there to James Mercer from Sellafield Limited, who's a design engineer who started off an apprenticeship when he was 16 and has progressed into that industry, and it just shows what can be done in this fantastic sector. And to add more weight to that, I've been delighted to be joined by Kath Walker, who's a business systems lead at Nuclear Graduates. Hi, Kath.
Morning, Stuart.
Morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Jobs Live channel today. Before we get into it, just tell us a little bit about what, for people who don't know, what Nuclear Graduates does.
Nuclear graduates are a part of Energous. Energous are an organisation based in West Cumbria. We have a number of strands, so we look at venues, we're a landlord, but most importantly, it's our people and skills programmes. Nuclear graduates are part of that aspect, that element of Energous, and we develop graduates across 2 years and develop them for the industry. We specifically look at critical skills gaps for the nuclear industry to address the decline, if you like, in the ageing workforce.
So is it just graduates? So, like, I mean, if you've left uni and you want to get into the sector, is this when they would approach you at some point and get that experience that they need?
So nuclear graduates, we do work with graduates specifically from universities. It may be that they graduated 2 years prior. It may be that they've had a job, but we do mainly work with graduates straight out university.
Fantastic. What was the purpose of setting up the company? Because it sounds brilliant, but what did you just feel that the experience was lacking, like it needed some more training to get people work ready?
Well, Nuclear Graduates Programme was set up back in 2008 by the Nuclear Decommissioning Authority, and it was about addressing the challenges for the nuclear industry, addressing that ageing workforce and addressing the critical skills gaps that ageing workforce was going to bring with it.
Yeah. For yourself though, Kath, coming as business systems lead, how did it start for you? Where did your journey start into this industry?
Oh, I say I've got a wide and varied career. I started working at 14 as a waitress. So those sort of jobs give you a lot of skills, a lot of competencies, things such as customer service, communication. Then I went to work in the local authority at payroll. And I moved to the Learning and Skills Council, looking at skills gaps and working with young people, working with offenders, looking at offender education. And I sort of fell into the industry, but it's about working with graduates and giving them employability skills. And it's working with those young people to make sure that they have the best opportunities to get into the industry.
Absolutely. So what kind of, I mean, you must see that journey when someone, so 2 years they spend with you. So when they come into the programme to when they finish the programme, you must be looking at a completely different person. I mean, what happens to them during that 2 years, Kath?
It's a very hard 2 years. It's a very full 2 years. So the graduates start with us and they start on a secondment with their sponsoring organisation. The graduates are sponsored by one of our 11 customers across the industry. So we work with the regulators, we work with site licence companies, we work with the NGA group. So the graduate will come, they'll spend the first 8 months with their sponsor, and then after that it's entirely up to them where they go for the next secondments, with a little bit of a steer from their mentor or the line manager. So it could be that the secondment goes to the supply chain or an intelligent customer. Some secondments are international when we can. We like to get them out to Australia or to Japan. We've had secondments with DOE in Washington. So there's a huge variety. We have over 200 secondment hosts at the moment. But it's about bringing back learning. It's about being able to access that holistic view of the whole industry, sharing good practice and bringing learning back to the sponsoring organisation at the end of the 2 years.
No, absolutely. So I've got your website here, because what I'd like you to do is walk me through what people need to do. So if I just flash it up on screen now. So we're at the nucleargraduates.com apply now page. I thought we'd just go straight to it. This is the place where someone who's graduated would come to this page. What would happen after this?
What will happen is once they apply, they'll go through a selection of steps. There will be numeric questioning, there'll be an online test. If they're successful, we will then go to a video interview, and following a video interview, we have an assessment centre. Like many organisations, the assessment centres have been virtual this year, and they'll continue to be virtual for the foreseeable future. Our vacancies will go live in September. We recruit to customer requirements, so it may be that our customers are asking for engineers or scientists, various engineering roles, civil engineering roles, electrical, chemical. We also have started to look at new disciplines, organisational psychologists. We've got opportunities for purchasing, HR, risk. So there's a huge variety of work available in the nuclear sector. I know a lot of it is about, a lot of people think there's a perception that it's engineers and scientists, but there's a huge number of disciplines available.
And that's a really, really important point you're making there, Kath, today, because, yeah, lab coats and hard hats isn't what it's all about, is it? There is lots of more opportunity to join this fantastic sector. And I'm just looking at your hints and tips, and I'm just reflecting on, are you seeing an increase of interest in this sector, and is that making it more competitive to join your programme?
We did see in this year's cohort an increase of applications of about 42%. It is a heavily competitive process. We had 5,000 applications this time, and we've recruited 48 graduates.
Wow.
So we do recruit to customer requirements. It may be that that's been a lot of confidence, student confidence within the industry, the number that have come through. It varies year on year, and obviously it varies on what disciplines we're looking for as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're in a really good place here to give some advice just quickly on that application process. So 5,000 down to 48. That sounds uber competitive, but a lot of people will fall by the wayside, I guess, from the application process itself. So let's get more people through the gate on this one. What would you say are your top tips? Because I've got them up on screen here. Research, attention to detail. For you, Kath, what are you looking for?
Just apply for the one role is one of the things. Don't apply generic. Your CV and your application must meet the criteria of the role that you're applying for. And in respect of your discipline as well, if you're an electrical engineer, apply for an electrical role. If you're an environmental scientist, again, look at the role that is suitable for your discipline. We have had in the past where people have applied for everything, and obviously they're going to be rejected if it's a scientist against an engineering role. So I would be really careful and read the application that you're putting in.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you do get past that stage, you mentioned interviews. Again, do people fall at that point because they've done something not quite on point, or what you're trying to get them to say or do? Again, any advice on interviews?
Yeah, our interviews are video interviews at first. So again, prepare, do your tech checks, and make sure that you understand what is required of you. Make sure you understand the timings and the deadlines that are there. Don't leave it to the last minute. We will ask you to do some questions. There are a number of processes that you need to follow. But your tech check's really important. Make sure that you can access the platform. Make sure you've got sound. Make sure you can see what's going on.
Yeah. A little bit like today when you came into our studio, and I can see there you're in a well-lit room. You've probably turned your phone off. You're not going to get distracted. No one should come through that door behind you. All the things that you don't want to happen during the course of an interview. And I'm sure things go wrong, but it's all down to the preparation, isn't it?
It is, and I think this year, obviously with virtual platforms and virtual assessment centres, it has humanised people. It's humanised the assessor. The assessor's doorbell will ring, the dog will bark, and it makes that relationship a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
The discussion's a little bit easier.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for your tips there, Kath, this morning. I think it's been really valuable to hear about your organisation as well. So anybody who doesn't know about this fantastic opportunity to get some work experience, I mean, just as a final question, you've clearly followed the journeys of a number of young people. Is there any that stand out for you that have gone on to do fantastic things once they've done your program and moved into this industry?
I think that there's a number. I mean, every graduate has an amazing journey. We work with the graduates to make sure that they're prepared for chartership, so they can get their chartership within about 4 years of leaving the program. We do have graduates now recruiting graduates, so we find that alumni are now line managers or mentors. There's just so many of them. We have had graduates in the past receive Graduate of the Year in a number of organisations, but there's so many graduates, it would be really difficult to pinpoint one.
And I know you're looking at people who are looking to join this industry, but for those who are still unsure, we're talking about perception of industry today, the nuclear industry. You must probably hear it all the time if you go into schools and into colleges. If you could sum that up in a few sentences, Kath, why would anyone even consider joining nuclear?
there's a lot of exciting things happening in nuclear, and I know sometimes it doesn't get that press, but there's a lot of exciting things happening. Decommissioning, hopefully with the new build, there's a lot going on. Exciting, fast industry to be in. No 2 days are the same.
And just finally, you can't please everybody. You've got 5,000 people there trying to get on your program, and 48. One of the questions we asked earlier was, if you weren't successful, you shouldn't give up, should you? What is the alternative? What can they do if they are not successful in getting through your program? What can they do to still get into the sector?
I think for us as well, one of the important things is everybody that comes through our video interviews and assessment centres will get written feedback. Everybody, whether they're successful or not. So work on that feedback, but there's a number of organisations that are our customers that have direct entry as well. So you could go on the graduate programme, direct entry through the organisation, but apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships, if that's an area that you would like to look at. There's a lot of degree apprenticeships within the industry, engineering, science-based as well.
Brilliant.
So that would be one of my tips.
Can I just ask... Nathan just come on the line and said, could he apply prior to September? He's obviously keen.
That's really nice to hear, but we won't have our customer requirements until July. So that's when the vacancies will open, because obviously we need to look at job roles and locations.
Yeah.
But if he keeps his eye on the website, they will be open in September.
Brilliant. So, well, thanks for that advice. He clearly wants to get involved as soon as possible. But there you go, Nathan, straight from Kath, who's dealing with the programme, Kath Walker there at Nuclear Graduates. Kath, it's been a pleasure to meet you. Thanks so much, and the very best of luck with your new cohort when it starts later this year as well.
Thank you very much. Lovely to talk to you, Stuart. Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The NDA come to Energous every year, and they identify skills shortage areas which we need to recruit young people into to help the industry to keep moving in them areas. What we do is we move them around different organisations within the nuclear industry to get them to see how the different organisations work. Sometimes having a bit of confidence to put yourself out of your comfort zone, to almost show yourself off to everyone in the industry that you're here and you're hoping to make a change in the future. We had an introductory dial-in with Impact, which was quite helpful to sort of get to know each other even though it wasn't face-to-face. It was good to see how you guys had got a plan for the apprentices and how you were able to work with how our programme runs, and we could sort of merge the two together. Everyone's been really helpful. Nothing's ever seemed to be too much that we've asked, so that's always good.
I love the Impact programme. I would love to go on it again because I love outdoor experiences and meeting new people, I'm a big fan of it. I feel like I can be myself more with outdoor programmes.
Before we went, we didn't know each other that well. We spoke for about a weekish at work, but we weren't really close. And then we basically went to Impact and they threw us right in at the deep end. They taught us about new concepts in team building and working together, and really just brought us closer and built us up as a team. One of the biggest challenges was the abseil for me. I'm not a fan of heights. Getting over the top was a pretty scary experience, but by the time you got to the bottom, you'd overcome it and you're really proud of yourself.
Some of the key challenges was actually opening up to people more. So I found that talking to people is a much better solution than keeping my feelings inside. And I found that learning more about other people can help work better, be more efficient in the workplace.
It's been quite nice to see the difference in them from the start of the week, how they were as a group, to the end of the week now. There's quite a big difference. You can tell they're a lot closer from being in the sort of situations they've been in. That's always good to see.
Hi, I'm Anna Byrne, Graduate Recruitment Selection Lead at Energous, and I would like to talk to you about assessment centres. So what is an assessment centre? An assessment centre is a combination of activities and tasks that test your ability for a job. It's an opportunity to meet your potential employer and find out about the organisation and the role to which you've applied. Typically, assessment centres last from between half a day to a full day, and it's an opportunity for you to demonstrate your skills, knowledge and experience and show the employer what you've got. Some organisations have moved to virtual assessment centres during the coronavirus outbreak to continue with their recruitment activities. You'll be assessed in a similar way during a virtual assessment centre, but will be asked to use a video platform such as Zoom or Microsoft Teams.
Welcome back to Nuclear Live here on the Jobs Live channel. This is Thursday the 10th of June and I hope your job search is going well. Today we're looking at nuclear sector and we've met up with some brilliant companies already who've been telling us about what they do, but also how you can apply into them and the kind of people they're looking for now and in the future. And on the line we should have Graham Thompson, who's a business partner at Nuvia. Hi Graham.
How are we doing? You all right?
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us here on the Jobs Live channel. Before we get into it, can you just tell us a little bit about what, for people who don't know, what Nuvia is all about?
Of course, yeah. So we provide innovative solutions in EPC, engineering, services and products throughout the nuclear environment. We have done so for about 60 years and you'll find any nuclear site that is in the UK or probably within Europe that we have some form of presence on and have done for the last over probably 60 years. We're part of the bigger, wider Vinci Group. So we are one of the nuclear arms of the Vinci Group, and obviously part of Nuvia Group we have Nuvia France, Nuvia Nordic, Nuvia India, Nuvia Canada. We work collaboratively with them. Predominantly around about 90-95% of Nuvia's work is done within the UK. At the moment we're working on sites such as Dounreay, Sellafield. We're working on doing a little bit on EDF on Hinkley Point C. I think you've just mentioned that you spoke to them earlier, and also as well as Winfrith. So we've got we're quite busy at the moment. We're very busy at the moment on different nuclear sites, which is good. And you'd probably find if within the nuclear sector you'd probably heard of Nuvia, or if not, you'd probably speak to someone who has already either worked for us or knows us really well.
Yeah, so in the UK, Graham, whereabouts are you based? So if somebody was looking to work for you in the future, are you dotted around the UK?
We are, yeah. So our head office is in Warrington at Birchwood Park. So probably right over the back from where Sellafield are based in Birchwood at Warrington. We have an office in Harwell on the old nuclear site at Harwell. There are two main offices, if you like, and then we do have satellite offices throughout from Dounreay, Sellafield, Piddlehinton, Winfrith, and anywhere in between. So like I said, anywhere that we do have a nuclear site in the UK, we will have some form of presence on there, and we'll have either recruited on or recruiting for on that site. So
yeah, I don't want to get too technical with you, but you mentioned there you work with Sellafield Limited. Yeah. What when you say work with them, what kind of things would you be doing? Would you be supporting them in what they're doing, or is it more the other way around?
Yeah, we'll be supporting Sellafield on their projects. So, for example, we've just finishing off dismantling a chimney, a Grade 1 chimney, which is one of the first that we've done, or which is one of the first in the UK that's been done for a while, which is good opportunity for us, as well as we've got opportunities on other Sellafield across the Sellafield site in the past probably 5-6 years. As well as doing stuff on the Barrow site as well, which is fairly local to Sellafield. So we do have a big presence within Cumbria.
Yeah, we had James Mercer on, who's a design engineer from Sellafield just before you. And he made the point, you can't just go and blow stuff up and take it away. When it's been nuclear, you've got to be very careful. Yeah. So I'm sure safety is paramount. And I think what, the perception of this industry, and it's like construction as well, people think, oh, it's dangerous. I don't really want to be in that environment, but you put safety first, don't you, in everything that you do?
Of course, safety is paramount in the nuclear sector. Everything's checked, double checked, triple checked. We did a stack demolition at Sellafield, which has taken around about 8 years, there or thereabouts, from start to finish, or we're just finishing it off now. And that was very safety conscious, as well as everything that we do, whether it's in the office or whether we're on site. Safety is at the forefront of what Nuvia believe in and what we do.
Yeah. I'm going to take you back a little bit now, Graham. I was going to ask your colleague this question, but how did you get into this industry in the first place? And one of my favourite questions is what was your very first job? I mean, I've had some great answers to this question, but were you in school or earning a bit of pocket money? Can you remember what it was?
Yeah, so my first job, funnily enough, I started two jobs in the same week between leaving school and going to college. So I started on a construction site, on building sites, just cleaning up after builders for my friend's dad's company during the day, and then I worked at a big supermarket chain at night, just to get a little bit of money through the summer, and then carried on working at the supermarket chain throughout college and university. And then initially my first big step into the world of work was I got a graduate program at Vodafone, and then it just went from there really.
So cleaning up at that construction site, who knew years later you'd be doing that on a much larger scale for the nuclear? I mean, joking aside, do you think those transferable skills have helped you get into this industry?
Massively, yeah. I think that first job, I was 15, 16 and waking up at 5:30 in the morning, working till 2, 3 in the afternoon, and I think that taught me work ethic, and it taught me to enjoy it as well. I think it was that enjoyment factor of, if you're not enjoying something, that you spend too much time in work not to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I think it's enjoying, and you have to. There's something that has to drive you to continue to get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, or whatever time it is. And for me, I think that's followed me through my career. I've been pretty lucky in obviously working for people like Nuvia, where it's a very good company to work for, and I think continue to develop and continuing to grow as yourself and as a business, I think that certainly helps anyone in work. So
no, absolutely. So we've just moving on to the jobs themselves. We've got your website to just flash up here on screen. So I've just taken people to the Nuvia search option. So this is where you show your vacancies. I know you'll know this site very well, being a business partner there, but I just wanted to see if you could talk us through this and what people need to do. So they've landed on here. Maybe they're interested in becoming a construction manager or a quantity surveyor. What would you suggest people do next when they land here?
So what I would suggest is have a flip through the website. So obviously just Nuvia as a whole really, but if you click onto the careers page, we generally have anything from 5 to 20, 25 vacancies at a time. We are fairly heavy engineering orientated, so a lot of the vacancies are engineering, but we do recruit from apprentice, graduate, all the way up to board level. So if an individual wanted to come and see Nuvia, what they would need to do is just click on, there's a little button next to any of the roles that say view. So if you click onto view there, we'll go into a little bit of an advert and a job description of what we're looking for. If you click onto view there, then at the bottom of the page you'll see apply for the job.
Yeah, got that.
And obviously you can apply straight away from there. Also on there, you'll probably find is if you click on apply for the job and you go through the application, or if you have any questions or queries about this, you can always give me a call. So either myself or one of the team back at the Warrington office, or we'll be able to, if you do have any questions before applying, or if you think, it doesn't state this, do I need to know this? We are fairly forthcoming with that, and by all means give us a quick shout and we'll be able to help and assist in any way.
Fantastic. And what does that process look like then? So it's asking me for my email address. I won't do that live on air, but once you get to that stage, and is it a CV at that early stage that you're looking for?
It is, yeah. So we'll ask some questions in regards to obviously some personal details, name, email address, etc. That's basically to initially register to our site or Nuvia, and then we'll ask for some job specific questions as well. So for example, within the nuclear sector, as you mentioned, a lot of it is around safety and security clearance, so we'll ask a couple of questions around there, qualifications based questions as well, and then we'll ask you for a CV and also a cover letter. The cover letter is around about 100 to 200 words, basically just yourself to pretty much give an overview, a summary, and sell yourself into the role really.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so I've just come to your careers page, and I noticed you've got apprenticeship programs and graduate programs. Do they go live at certain times of the year, Graham?
They do, yeah. So if you any apprentices or graduates that are interested, we will always discuss and we'll always try and keep abreast of different graduate and apprentice programs, but they usually go live around about November, December time.
Yeah.
And that'll be well advertised through any of our social medias, through our website, through our LinkedIn. And then what will happen is then we'll have the website will keep open. Well, the job application process will keep open until around about January time, end of January. So it'll be open over the Christmas period. We'll down select candidates that we're looking for, or we think that best suit are what we're looking for. But we'll run apprentice and graduate assessment days and recruitment days alongside myself and hiring managers and specifically our learning and development team around about Easter time, and then we'll start making the decisions of getting people on board around about the end of August, September.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for that update, and I'm sure people visiting the site will look into that in more detail. And there seems to be lots of information about you on there as well. So one of the things I was going to ask about hints and tips is, do people benefit, do you think, if they've done their research on you before they apply into your post? Can you tell those who have and haven't?
Definitely. I think whether you're qualifying a candidate, so you're giving a candidate a call after you've received their job application, or whether you get a call off a candidate who's showing a genuine interest, personally, I think you can tell those who do the homework and those who don't. So whether that's the amount of people who click onto my LinkedIn page or to Nuvia's LinkedIn page, do a little bit of reading, and or even, for example, in interview preparation or applicant preparation, where they're clicking into certain people on LinkedIn, for example, or looking into Nuvia. I think for me, with a CV, if it's tailored to the job that you're applying for me, I think that goes a long way, rather than maybe applying for 10, 12 jobs at one time. Personally, I think it's a little bit more personable. So, you can definitely tell.
Cameron's just literally put a question on. Well, he's put two on. He's asked for a list of job vacancies. Well, Cameron, that's on the Nuvia site there, as we just spotted. And he's also asking, how does he apply for the apprenticeship scheme? Obviously, that's not happening until later this year, but can you put expressions of interest in right now, Graham?
Of course you can, yeah. Of course you can. So if you get in touch with myself, so you're probably the best off to email recruitment@nuvia.com. And if you email your application through, or your CV with the covering details of what you're currently studying and what you want to do going forward, then we'll be able to get in touch with you and take you through that process, certainly.
Great. Well, we'll make sure that's up on your partner page if it isn't already. So recruitment@nuvia.com. We'll get your expression of interest in there, and then you'll be back in touch with them when the programme goes live. Is that right?
Yeah, near to, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, whether it's a couple of weeks before or when it just goes live, certainly. So this year we're hoping to kick it off around about November, December. Obviously we struggled last year due to COVID. So we're hoping to bring it back bigger and better, and I know people are working hard behind the scenes to do that. So
no, fingers crossed on that one for you. So we mentioned research. Just on the interview itself then, if you are lucky enough to get an interview there for one of these roles, I mean, do you do them? I'm sure you do them yourself, Graham, some of them anyway. Any sort of tips on how to make sure you do your best at interview?
For me, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. Prepare. I think it's whether you, obviously, when you get invited to an interview with Nuvia, and I'm sure it's the same at other companies as well, you'll be told who's interviewing you. So maybe have a look on LinkedIn, who the interviewer is, see if you've got any commonalities with those individuals. Look at our website, look at Nuvia, look at what we do and what we've done historically. And what I would say, and it seems quite a simple factor, but you'd be amazed that quite a few people don't know their own CVs in and out. So make sure you're aware of your CVs, and any questions that we pose around your CV or the competencies around the role, make sure you know those. So, for example, it could be as simple as, tell me what you did at your graduate programme. So, for example, or when you first started your career, or why Nuvia. Just come up with little theoretical answers and little theories in your head. And then, personally, for me, I think that goes a long way. And then I'd always say as well, at the end of the interview, have some pre-prepared questions. I think because that shows that you've done your due diligence, you've looked at the role, and it shows that you want it as well. So for me, I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, that's great advice there, Graham. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to just one final thing I'm going to ask you, because a theme throughout today has been that nuclear hasn't necessarily got the image you would hope it would have, especially where young people are concerned looking to get into this industry. You must see that yourself as well when if you do go into a school, or in the past, or you've met young people, straight away the shutters go up to say no, it's that perception of what it is. today we're trying to break that down a little bit, and actually this sector is a brilliant sector to work for. And it's not what I think the perception is. So what would you want to say to anybody who's been unsure about, either the safety side of it or the I don't know, the ethics around the industry itself? What would you want to say to young people and parents right now about this sector?
For me, I think the nuclear sector opens up a lot more doors and a lot more opportunities than probably most sectors. There's been individuals who work for Nuvia who've been there for 40, 45, 50 years. So there's that career opportunity and you can grow, and you can also, what you can do in the nuclear sector is, for example, you start out in engineering, there's other avenues that you can take later in your career, whether that's going down the marketeering route, whether that's going down the project management route, whether that's going down to the commercial route. There's different avenues, opportunities, and the nuclear sector is who doesn't like going onto big buildings and big sites and looking at and building things. I think if you're that way inclined and that's what you want to do in your lifetime, I think then the nuclear sector is just reward if you are looking for that, as well as the support functions within the nuclear sector. You're working with some really amazingly brainy people, and you with some creative people, and I think probably more so than most sectors, you are working with individuals who know their stuff, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. They are subject matter experts in what they do, and it's so interesting. I am not a qualified engineer. I studied criminology at university, and I ended up in the nuclear sector. I am learning every day something new, something different, and it's keeping me on my toes. It's keeping me intrigued into the next step and that journey along the way. And certainly at Nuvia, it's an exciting time for us. So personally, for me, I think if you are looking to get into engineering, the nuclear sector is something that it's definitely worth a look into for you. It's a really good sector, a really exciting sector to work in.
Can you remember your first day, Graham?
I can. I certainly can. I walked through and I remember seeing we've got a lot of like drawing boards up with images of different projects and to show clients and whatever else, and afterwards on there I was like, wow, this is interesting. What's this about? And you slowly get there and you slowly learn about what it is and what Nuvia do and what the nuclear sector is, and I've never looked back. I can't probably see myself working in any other sector, being totally honest with you. I just find it fascinating. I really do, and it's probably turned me into someone who didn't know a lot about engineering, and by all means I'm not an engineer, but someone who's got a keen interest in engineering now. So I'd certainly promote it if anyone was getting involved, or if anyone has any question likewise around the nuclear sector and want to see someone who's come from different sector into the nuclear sector. Don't be afraid to apply for it. Don't be afraid to broaden your wings, if you like. There is a lot of transferable skills between construction and nuclear and rail and nuclear, for example, and so don't be afraid to click that apply button. I think it's half the battle is applying for it. So personally, for me, I think don't be afraid to do so.
Well, I think you've summed it up really well and answered Stacey's question. She was asking, what's it like working for Nuvia? That question you just answered there straight off the bat. So thank you so much, Graham, for sharing your insights and giving people watching this really valuable advice, as well as about applying for the roles, because what we know is it's fine showing people vacancies, but they need to know how to apply into them as well. So you've been really helpful today in getting that across on our broadcast. Thanks so much for your time, Graham. Thanks so much for stepping in as well to do this and to let us know more about Nuvia, a company that may not be that well known in certain quarters, but we certainly do now. And I think we've got a short video to play now as well about Nuvia, so we can learn more about this company. Thanks for your time, Graham. Speak to you soon.
Thanks very much. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you. So welcome back to Jobs Live channel. This is Nuclear Live this morning. All morning we've been speaking to organisations from the nuclear sector, and it's been brilliant to hear about the opportunities that exist within this sector, but also the kind of roles that you wouldn't necessarily recognise, such as behind the scenes admin, HR, finance. You know, it's not just engineers and scientists, which I'm sure our next guest will tell us about that as well. I'm delighted to be joined by Andrew Crabtree from Get Into Nuclear. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Stu. You okay?
Very well, thank you. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Jobs Live channel. So just tell us a little bit about your website, because I know you launched it a couple of years ago. What is Get Into Nuclear all about?
Yeah, so I suppose I'm a little different than some of the other employers. Whereas Get Into Nuclear, the aim of Get Into Nuclear is to create an industry that's open to all. So regardless of background, age, gender, address, there's a place for everybody in nuclear, and more as in getting into this, I had a unique route into the sector, and so do other people. And it's just a matter of, I suppose, dispelling some of the myths around the industry, kind of raising its profile, and then also sharing a little bit more information on the different roles that are available. There's a big assumption that a lot of the jobs you need to be wearing a lab coat and kind of messing about with test tubes, and that's not the case. There's a big range of jobs out there for people in the industry.
Well, you're proof of that. I mean, you are somebody who works in the industry as well. So where did your journey start? Before, and we will show your website in a shortly, but I'm just intrigued to know
that's fine,
how did you get into this industry in the first place, Andrew?
Yeah, so and I suppose that's partly where I started getting to nuclear in the first place, was that, I started off, so I was playing professional rugby while I was at university. And then as I started playing semi-pro, I got a job. Ended up being a bank manager at RBS for a few years, and then ultimately ended up at Sellafield Limited being a trainee commercial manager. Then moved into project management, because for me it was just the same as being the captain of a rugby team. And then moved on from there. And I'm now a program manager working with Cavendish in the DSA at the moment.
Well, that's a bit of a dotted line approach, isn't it? I mean, you didn't probably when you were playing rugby, or even when you're working in the bank, were you thinking then, I'm going to work in nuclear?
No, not at all. But what I'm finding is, as part of the website, we're doing a lot of interviews with prominent people in the industry, and you actually find that there's some really interesting routes into nuclear. And I think that's testament to the variety of roles that's available in the sector. There's lots of people that use the term that they fell into the industry, and I suppose I'm a little bit like that as well myself. But there's I think the big thing is there's lots of carryovers with nuclear with other industries, and the key thing really is to, as you're going on your journey, and it may be playing sports, it may be in the jobs you're doing, it may be with charity work, but whatever that is picking up them skills, and I suppose when you ultimately get into people applying for work is using them transferable skills and kind of how they apply to the role itself and the industry.
Absolutely. So we're going to bring up your website now. So this is getintonuclear.com, and the tagline, creating an industry that is open to all, which is basically your story, isn't it, Andrew? When you're there, you said, you didn't take the typical route, and yet you joined nuclear. Did you find it particularly difficult to get into it, when you left the bank?
I think the industry's, for lots of reasons. I think and on the website we've kind of got the banner with the four main objections that we hear most commonly on people why they've not applied for nuclear in the past is the fact that, one, they don't know the industry exists, or they know about it but they're not aware of the roles that's available in the industry. The second one is they don't like nuclear for lots of reasons, and the industry itself hasn't done a great job in the past of managing the PR around certain things that have gone on in the industry. And then kind of our generation watching things like The Simpsons didn't help at all. Then you've got the third one is they don't believe they have the skills to work in nuclear, and that's around everybody. There's the assumption that you wear lab coats and you need a PhD to get a job. And the fourth one is people don't know where to find jobs in nuclear as well. A lot of the jobs historically anyway have lived within the employers' websites themselves. So if you're not aware of the sector and you're not aware of the the employers within the sector, it's difficult to find the roles to apply for.
Yeah.
But what you do find, and what's common with everybody I've spoken to, is it is a really, when you do get into nuclear, it is a really inclusive community, and it's really welcoming, and it's almost kind of, I suppose, a family feel around it. It is, although it's quite a big sector, and the work that they're doing is huge. It's quite a small kind of niche sector to get into.
And this is why you set up this site in the first place. Really, is to make it less painful, I suppose, that transition from one sector into another, and you've clearly learnt a lot along the way, and people visit this site. I mean, they must have been already giving you feedback to say thank you very much for introducing me to these companies and this sector.
Yeah, so the site works in a number of ways. Yeah, but most people come to the site are people who are either looking for advice on what college or university courses to do, or looking at what's the different types of roles that's available and how they can apply for the jobs. So yeah, the key thing is, if I use an example, recently there was quite an experienced project manager working in oil and gas, and he tried to get into the nuclear industry a couple of times now and was always unsuccessful with his applications. So I got him to send my CV, and what I've done on review of it is focus more on the skills and his transferable skills. So focus more on the positives that he can bring into the role and into the sector, rather than maybe the kind of focusing on the point that he's never worked in nuclear before. I think that the skills that you bring in, there's a massive amount of overlap, and I think from moving into particular roles, there's bits of it that you can learn as you start the role, but obviously the skills that you picked up from elsewhere, that's a big need of the sector at the moment. So the sector's pretty much, there's a lot of demand for roles, and that's only set to grow based on the new bills and anything else that's going on at the moment. Plus as well, the industry, as with other industries, is needing to diversify as well and bring in new people with new ideas from different backgrounds and get some new perspectives as well. So I think that if people focus on that element of it when they're looking to apply for jobs, particularly if they're coming from outside of the sector, I think that puts them in a good stead.
Yeah, because we'd heard from Sellafield earlier, actually, and they're saying that they've got a 100-year plan there, so there's definitely a job for life for everybody wants it. And then with EDF and Hinkley Point C, I mean, there's thousands of jobs being opened up over the next 5, 10, 20 years down there in Somerset. So clearly, there is demand for people to join this sector. So earlier we had a question, Andrew, from someone is working in the food industry, but as an engineer, and I think they were looking at ways to get into nuclear. And I'm sure that's the kind of people who land on your site, isn't it? They're trying to find a way in because they don't think they've got the necessary skills to join your industry.
Yeah, and I think that's so if you're on the website, we've got kind of where to find jobs as you go in, and we've got a career hub. So if you're on the site now at the top, which is right at the top, still a little bit higher up.
Yeah, sorry.
So you've got the left hand side. You've got, is it where to find a job?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just can't quite see.
No, it's okay. We've got the nuclear career hub. We've got nuclear definitions.
Yeah, that's the one. If you click on the career hub, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to click on that now.
So in there, really, that provides you all the information of the different types of roles, career stories of people in the past, a bit of information on the industry itself, advice on how to build your CV and how to focus on your transferable skills, how to apply, and then also where you can find apprenticeships, graduate schemes, and then also different roles that are available. So there is that, and then from people are always welcome and invited as well to either contact us on social media or send us an email, and we're happy to help and get back to people directly.
Do you wish there was a site like this, Andrew, when you were in the bank? Would that have helped you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was quite fortunate, really, that it was kind of, I suppose everybody fell into it. Somebody I was playing rugby with at the time, he was on the graduate scheme at Sellafield, so I gave him my CV to drop in at Sellafield, and that was kind of my route in. Whereas, the site was born from when people asked me what am I doing, and they'd ask me how did I get into nuclear, I could tell them my story. But then when they asked me how could they get into nuclear, it was very difficult to point them at a website or give them a phone number or tell them to go and speak to somebody. There's been a hell of a lot of improvement recently, and the Get Into Nuclear site now signed post to NSSG, nuclear graduates, the NSAN courses. So it's more of a signpost in a lot of ways for that. But yeah, I think it's pretty unique, and hopefully does a good job of helping anybody interested in finding more about getting into the industry. The key thing for me with it is not everybody will want to work in nuclear for lots of reasons. It may not be in the right location or the type of work that you want to do. But I feel that anybody who leaves the site should never feel that they're not welcome to apply for work in nuclear. I think a lot of people feel that there isn't a role for them in the sector, whereas there is for a vast majority of people. No,
that's fantastic. Just going to see if we've got any more on the chat, because I know we've had a couple of people. Paul's asked, I would like a career in nuclear. Where would you recommend I start? Well, I know what you're going to say, Andrew. I mean, for someone who's looking to start their career, you've been there. Is there a good starting point, to sort of put your foot in the water, if you like, to sort of test if it is for you?
I think it all depends, really. I think it depends on people's situations, where they're up to, what state they're in at the moment. I would always say to focus on skills. I think that the skills you've gained from any experience you've had in the past, particularly transferable skills, and their applicability to the role in the industry. So probably a good. Obviously, I'm going to point you to the website, but looking at the different types of roles that there is available in the sector, identify them, pick out ones that you feel would be of interest to you. I think it's always good to look at live job adverts that are out there live at the moment to see look at the desirable skills and the experience and the qualifications that are needed.
Yeah.
Do a bit of a mapping against yourself, and if you feel that you cover most of them bases, go ahead and apply for it, concentrating on your transferable skills and what you build. If you do have a couple of gaps in there, there's a lot of places now that you can go and upskill yourself, and I think you will find is because of the vast range of roles there is available, I would say that the majority of people will find something that kind of overlaps with themselves.
Yeah. We asked this question of Graham at Nuvia, and I'll just finish on this one. That perception of nuclear, even before you started it, Andrew, can you remember that perception versus your first day on the job at Sellafield? Was it like off the scale? Was nothing like what you thought it was going to be when that first day arrived and you landed at Sellafield? Did it change your mind completely about this sector?
I'd say yeah, completely. It's I think it's been a closed industry for a while for a number of reasons, and there's I think then particularly when you look at nuclear sites, you just see a big concrete box, and you kind of your mind runs wild around what you think's behind the box and what's going on, and kind of sci-fi movies and Chernobyl that's been on recently and all that. You kind of your brain goes to that. But when the biggest thing I found is how welcoming and friendly and willing people are to help within the industry. I think it's a really when you go some sectors are built around confrontational and being contractual, and nuclear is very much built around collaboration and working together and helping each other. And that, for me, if I knew that as I joined the sector, what I would say is, if anybody, you're getting questions coming through at the moment, which is great, but if anybody is interested, don't be afraid to reach out directly to the hiring manager or the recruiter or the employer themselves. You'll be surprised how willing they are to help you, and this everybody within the nuclear industry is proud of what they do, proud of what the sector does, and they're very welcoming and willing to help anybody who's interested in finding out more about building a career in the sector.
No, there's my soundbite right there, Andrew, as to why people should join this sector. So thank you so much for that. Andrew's first day at Sellafield, and look where you are now. You've built your own website, getintonuclear.com, and to do what you did a few years ago to get people into this fantastic sector. So credit to you for doing it in the first place and trying to make a difference and trying to signpost people. And Paul's just said this information has been so helpful, thank you. And I think that sums it up really, Andrew, as to what we're trying to do today. So thanks so much. We'll let you get on with your day job now and get on with it. And I know we're proving it's live. The phones are going off behind you. It's a busy time for you, I know. So we'll let you get back to it.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. It proves it's live TV. Thanks so much, Andrew, for joining us on Jobs Live. Good luck with the site.
No problem.
That's getintonuclear.com, and we will post that again on the site later so people can get back in touch with you. And yeah, take care of yourself.
Great, thank you.
So hello everyone and welcome to today's National Apprenticeship Week. So today we are joined by Rebecca Flynn from Cavendish Nuclear. So Rebecca, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Flynn. I'm 21 years old and I'm currently studying a level 3 mechanical design apprenticeship for Cavendish Nuclear.
Perfect, thank you Rebecca. So tell us about the route that you took towards the apprenticeship and how you came about it, why you did it and how that flowed from what you were doing at school.
I studied a BTEC level 3 diploma in engineering as a new engineering college had just opened. I never thought about a career in engineering or science, so I took a leap of faith, which I'm extremely pleased I did.
Absolutely, it's all about that leap of faith. So, what did you want to do when you were at school or college? You say that you took a leap of faith with science and that kind of thing. So, what was it that you originally were looking at?
I wasn't 100% sure what career path I wanted to do. I enjoyed science and art in high school, so I knew I needed some creative job to suit myself. But by studying engineering in college, I got to experience many different forms of engineering and different career paths that I could take. I really enjoyed the design lessons, so from this, I knew that was the career path for me.
That's perfect. I always got told to whatever you enjoyed at school, you take on and see where it leads you, and then you never have to work a day in your life. That's brilliant. So speaking of studying and what you enjoyed and things, when it comes to work, how do you balance that work and study life? A lot of people will probably find that quite a daunting thing. So how do you manage that?
I balance work and study by setting little deadlines for work and college. By doing this, I know I am keeping on top of everything. And however, sometimes by mixing the work and study, it hits two birds with one stone. So I get to hit my 20% off the job target for training, etc. So for example, by studying in college during my apprenticeship, I used what I'd learned to apply in the workplace.
Perfect. It just then kind of links in together. So like you said, two birds, one stone.
Yeah.
But what would you say are the benefits of doing an apprenticeship? What are the things that keep you doing an apprenticeship?
An apprenticeship gives you a lot of not only academic skills, it gives you a lot of practical skills for doing the job. You get to work with a range of different people who have lots of different knowledge and experience. So by tapping into their knowledge, I've learned a range of different skills to mould me into a competent engineer. And it gives you a direct pathway to a career you want, whilst also letting you to branch off into areas you wouldn't normally get to experience.
Yeah, that's perfect. Just to have that nice bit of a touch of everything. So you kind of don't narrow yourself down too early.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what would you say has been the most memorable experience of your apprenticeship so far?
I don't have one memorable experience. I'd say my whole apprenticeship has been memorable. I've enjoyed working and developing my relationship with a number of different people and really get to show my passion for being creative.
That's amazing, especially as you said, if you love being creative, then that's perfect. So after you've finished your apprenticeship, what are your ambitions for your career in the future?
I think my ambition would be to become a competent design engineer and to continuously learn new ways of doing things. But I also aspire to help the younger generations into their career paths, not only those that wish to get an apprenticeship.
That's great. So for those people that are wanting to get an apprenticeship, or even the people that haven't considered an apprenticeship before, is there any particular advice that you give to someone that you wish you'd have known before starting yours?
I would say gain as much experience within the area that you wish to work in or you're looking to work in, such as work experience or getting involved with STEM events. And developing a portfolio and CV whilst at high school or college can also help you when applying for an apprenticeship, as the employer gets to know the real you. During my interview, I brought photos and drawings of the work I'd done in college to show what skills I currently had at the time. The apprenticeship route doesn't always suit everyone, but I would say if you prefer more hands-on route, then it's definitely the route for you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for those pieces of advice there, Rebecca. But unfortunately, that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much to everyone that was watching today. And if you've got any questions for Rebecca or any of the team at Cavendish, please just drop us a line on the live chat and someone from the team will get back to you as soon as possible. But for now, thank you so much, Rebecca, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
So thank you for joining us on the Jobs Live channel for what has been Nuclear Live. So all this morning we've been talking to nuclear companies all across the UK about the opportunities that they have in this fantastic sector. Hopefully you found this useful. Please leave your comments in the live chat, and remember to subscribe to the channel to keep in touch with future broadcasts like this from many sectors that we'll be focusing on over the coming weeks and months ahead. Also remember that you can register for any of our broadcasts here on the channel page where you're watching this, again just to be sure that you get up to date with what we're doing here at the Jobs Live channel. Next Thursday we're going to focus on the hospitality sector. That's the 17th of June, starting at 10 AM. We're going to be meeting up with organisations from that sector to tell you about the job opportunities that they have within that sector. And they are all live, so they're on the 17th of June here on the Jobs Live channel. So do keep in touch with that, and also do subscribe because we'll let you know and remind you when that broadcast is coming up. Very best of luck with your job search, and this has been Jobs Live. Thank you.
The Jobs Live channel is an innovative, interactive, moderated online channel that brings job opportunities directly into the home, classroom or business. The Jobs Live channel is free to the end user and does not require any additional equipment to be purchased or licenses to be downloaded. Since 2016, the Jobs Live channel and the Learn Live channel have supported the futures of people across the UK by delivering over 2,000 live broadcasts and reaching over 10 million people in schools, colleges and the wider community. The Jobs Live channel can be attended by an unlimited number of individuals simply by logging into the channel and joining the live broadcast. The broadcasts can be customised to showcase an organisation's vacancies and profile, provide live video feeds and live jobs, and have a running commentary from our studios to review the latest job opportunities available across the UK. The Jobs Live channel is a partnership with businesses and the DWP and works continuously to link job seekers to employers and educate them about the types of companies available within the economy. The channel is already working successfully with companies like Balfour Beatty, Network Rail, the NHS, alongside hundreds of businesses supported by the local economic partnerships. Individuals and employees are encouraged to ask questions during the broadcasts via the channel's moderated live chat facility, directly to the Jobs Live channel partners. The Jobs Live channel can offer you the following: a channel which gives employers and partners the opportunities to promote and discuss their current vacancies to a captive audience of job seekers. Dedicated channel pages for your business to host video content both live and on demand. An innovative, moderated live chat facility on your channel page to provide real-time interaction between customers and businesses. Fully searchable live jobs applet for customers to locate the latest vacancies and watch videos from employers discussing the roles available. Finally, using our trusted methods and our extensive knowledge of this market, our project plans ensure all resources and step-by-step processes are met in line with timescales and budgets. We look forward to working with your business in the future on the Jobs Live channel. Thank you for watching.